Assalamu alaikum, everyone. This is Amar bin Salim. I represent the marketing team at the Office of Advancement at LUMS. Again, it is a great privilege to be welcoming you to the second day of our second leg for Knowledge Week webcast series that we're doing for Suleiman Dawood School of Business. So far, we have already talked about our programs, Accounting and Analytics, MS Accounting and Analytics, MS Business and Public Policy, MS Healthcare Management and Innovation, Technology Management and Entrepreneurship, and Supply Chain and Retail Management during the first half of the Knowledge Week webcast series. Yesterday, we connected with you to talk about the MBA program, the Master of Business Administration program. Today, inshallah, it is our day for MS Financial Management. Tomorrow, inshallah, we'll be connecting with you for the PhD Management. And again, we'll be wrapping it up, the whole Knowledge Week webcast series for SDSB with our program for Executive MBA. So as you all know that we offer all these programs through Suleiman Dawood School of Business, or SDSB as we like to call it. And SDSB is the first and the only business school in Pakistan to have scored the AACSB accreditation. Now that is an accolade, that is an achievement that actually puts us with the top 5% of the world's most remarkable, most influential business schools across the globe, of course. Again, as I always say, these webcast series done for you for all the different schools. So jo bhi humne programs kiye, the main idea has always been to communicate to you the different requirements that we have put in place for all the different programs at LUMS, at SDSB specifically, and also to talk about different things like who would be an ideal candidate for our programs, what would be the most important dates that you must keep in mind while applying for the program, what's the program structure going to look like, what's the LUMS life going to look like when you join us. And of course, if you have any questions, if you have any suggestions, if you are stuck somewhere during the application process or are struggling with the whole application portal, let us know. We are here to answer your questions. Write to us, mention your, write your queries to us in the comment section on Facebook, and inshallah ta'ala, we'll pick them up and we'll make sure we are making your questions a part of our discussion today. So again, I am greatly honored to be in the presence of Dr. Kumail Rizvi, Mr. Samir Ahmed, and Ms. Aimen Gulzar. Dr. Kumail Rizvi is a very eminent faculty member at Suleiman Dawood School of Business, and he is also the director of the MS Financial Management program at LUMS. Mr. Samir Ahmed is the founding CEO at Knightsbridge Capital Group, and he is also the executive in residence for the MS Financial Management program at LUMS. And Ms. Aimen Gulzar is currently a student of ours at LUMS, and she is pursuing her MSFM program at the Suleiman Dawood School of Business. So thank you very much, gentlemen, and Ms. Aimen, for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Amar.
Thank you. Dr. Kumail, I always start with the program director. So again, I'm going to bug you. My first question to you would be to kindly introduce the program and talk about its length and also the way we have structured the whole program.
Okay, thank you very much, Amar. It's a privilege to be here while explaining the importance of MS Financial Management program. I think at the moment किसी को ये शक नहीं होना चाहिए कि why do we need the specialization program in financial management. So when we look around, we see one area particularly performing bad across the globe is finance. So I think this should be very much clear to everyone that why do we need specialized and trained people in finance. Let me give you a little bit background of why these degrees or similar degrees were not there a couple of years ago, and why we feel that there is a strong need to have such degrees. So if you just look back, you would realize that in 1950s, 60s, that was kind of an era when educational degrees were considered as a specialized degrees. Okay, so people used to get specialization in different domains. And then in 70s, after the emergence of this MBA program, the things and the domains, they started to getting closer and closer. The boundaries were getting blur and blur, and we tried to develop kind of a business program which could create master of all. Now, for a certain time period, that was a successful experiment, and we did produce some brilliant mind, and we are still producing, people who are very good in general management, in general business administration. But since the world is becoming more and more complicated in its own way, so every area is getting more and more complex over time. So I think this is the right time to realize the importance of specialized degree programs, and MS Financial Management is basically one such attempt and response to the changing need of the industry, corporate sector, even government office holders. So this is what the baseline work behind the inception of this program. How this program is different compared to other programs. So we are very clear in one thing, that we want to keep it very practical and industry focused. Okay, so it's not really, let me be very candid about it, it's not a real research program. No. So if your objective is to go for higher studies or PhDs, probably this program is not the right option for you.
But Dr. Kumail, sorry to be interrupting, but agar kisi bande ne apna, after this program, if they want to go for PhD, that is possible.
That is possible. That is, of course, possible. But we really want to, we really want our students to participate in the corporate sector at the top leadership positions, so that the problems that we are facing at the moment in the corporate sector, and shortage of those people with good financial acumen and understanding, we would be able to bridge that gap somehow. Okay, but yes, you are absolutely right. It is possible to continue with your PhD in finance.
I see. Okay, bilkul. And Dr. Kumail, what about the length of the program? How long is it, and how has the program been structured?
Okay, so the program is of duration of 1.5 years. Okay, so 2 semesters are particularly the coursework. So we have 4+4+1 course in summers. In totality, 9 courses we offer to our students. And then we have a full-fledged semester in which students are supposed to work on some real-time problem within some corporate organization. Okay, so the idea is, and Samir sir would probably be able to talk more about on that side of the program. And this is what the distinguishing feature of this program. We don't want our students to just sit on their computers and write some thesis. Of course, the thesis is one of the requirements, but our idea is to push them towards the thesis which really would be helpful for the corporate sector to solve their emerging and contemporary issues.
Okay, bilkul. And as I've been able to understand, and as you mentioned, that there are 9 programs that you have to do in the first year. The program in itself is a 1.5 years long, and then in the latter part of the program, you'll have to go to the industry. You'll have to be working with a organization probably, and then you'll be researching on their problems, and that's how it's going to go ahead from there. Okay, I have got lots of questions for you, Dr. Kumail, but I'm gonna keep coming back to you. Sure. At the same time, Abhi, I'm gonna go to Samir Sahab. Samir Sahab, in your own understanding, how has this program, the MS Financial Management program, allowed us to cater to the diverse needs of the industry, or in other words, what are some of the gaps that we aim to fill in through this program?
Sure. Okay, as Dr. Kumail said, we've got a general management program, which is the MBA. उसमें आप जरूर एक concentration कर सकते हैं finance में. But the financial sector itself has been in a state of flux, especially after 2008 and the financial crisis that we saw globally. A lot of things on the theoretical side are being questioned and worked on. A lot of changes have come in the practical side. For example, there is more of regulatory oversight, and this is happening globally. Pakistan, of course, there are a lot of changes taking place. If we take a very current specific example, in 2021, we saw a lot of new venture capital money coming into Pakistan, something to the tune of $350 million. Now, this is the current area, this is the new area. So, for example, in this semester, I'm co-teaching a course in entrepreneurial finance and venture capital. The idea is, just to carry on from what Kumail said, it's a blend of learning and experiential or practical work. So what this will do is, for example, this particular course will give students a very good grounding in what's happening in the startup area in terms of funding and so forth. There's another course, again, I'm co-teaching in derivatives and fixed income, which gives all the students a very good idea about how financial markets work. So theory aapki solid honi chahiye, rigorous honi chahiye, but on top of that, you have to mix this practical experiential learning part, which will obviously culminate in the final semester, as Kumail said, in that project that they'll do with the corporates. Ek aur cheez main zikr kar दूं, we foresee our students going and working not just in the financial sector, but also in the corporate sector, in the finance function. Wahan pe bhi the finance function is taking on a very new and very, very important role. It's always been important, but a lot of changes taking place. For example, I mentioned earlier the regulatory side. Is waqt takriban sab corporates mein, financial institutions, the whole area of risk management is a very big area. The whole area of compliance with the regulatory side is a very big area. Technology is bringing in a lot of changes. The regulatory environment is bringing in a lot of changes. And as you know, knowledge grows and so forth, there's a lot of things which are in flux. So we're aiming to take in very, very bright students and focus them on the financial sector after they've been through that sort of foundation courses in management and economics and so forth. And hopefully fulfill that need for trained human resource which is focused on finance.
बिल्कुल सही. अच्छा समीर साहब, एक जैसे मुझे अक्सर question we discuss about multiple programs, and it's not just SDSB, it could be any other program, science or humanities or whatever we have. A question aata hai students ki taraf se, and that is a very valid concern, that they're basically worried about jobs. But in my own understanding, with a program like financial management, I believe applications are everywhere, regardless of the kind of organization that you go to, because finance is pivotal to every organization's survival. So is that true? कि मतलब FM से आप अगर हमारा MSFM program आप कर लेते हैं, so you could find job anywhere?
Yes, in the finance function probably, but yes, anywhere. Financial institutions may, corporates may, whether it's the multinationals or the local corporates which are growing and have reached a certain level where they need a specialized finance function. And then the financial sector itself, again, that bit of flux. One of the things that's very, very happening right now is the whole fintech sector. And I keep talking to a lot of startups. Obviously, the nature of startups is that some succeed and some fail. But right now, they're desperately looking for good people. Or is area mein, let's see how it plays out, but there's a lot of thinking which says that these fintechs they won't kill the banks, but they'll kill a lot of the old inefficient banks. So in sub areas mein kafi change hai, kafi movement hai, and it requires that the students coming out are current with all of the knowledge and the practical side of how these sectors and industries are evolving. This is our first intake. Inshallah, they'll get the job. But for example, the MBA program, which is a long-established flagship program, the last MBA class, within a few months, 100% of the class was placed. So, with that rigor and quality that LUMS is known for, I think the class should do very well. And as I said, part of the reason for setting up these programs is that there is a need in the industry, which need has been conveyed to LUMS. That these are the people we need: healthcare management, technology management, public policy, financial management, and so forth.
Bilkul. And I remember I was in a webcast with I guess it was MS Technology Management's webcast, and this came up that with these programs we are trying to make sure that we are training our students to be market ready. As soon as they enter the market, they are aware of the problems that exist in that particular industry which they're going to join, and they're there to solve it. And for that, the 6-month field also really helps. So thank you, Samir Saab. Again, I'm going to come back to you with more industry specific questions. Aimen, how has your experience been at LUMS so far? Again, first, if you could talk about your own academic background and your own, professional background, and then what made you opt for this degree and how difficult it is. How difficult is the LUMS life? Or we apne ghabrana bhi nahi answers dete, Dr. Kumail or Samir sahab baithe hoye hain.
So I graduated in 2017 from LUMS. I did my BS Accounting and Finance. And for 4 years, I was working in different organizations. I worked in asset management and I worked in a bank as well. And I worked in a corporate organization as well. But as we all know, everybody has a final goal of getting a master's degree. So I was like struggling with that decision when to do that, kept waiting. And one day this MS Finance program shows up on my screen and I decide this is what I was looking for all this time, because I did not want to go out of Pakistan. And considering there was no MS Finance.
So the fact that it showed up on your screen reflects on our marketing efforts.
Yeah, it does. It does,
definitely. Job. Dr. Kumail, I'm sure you must be happy.
I am indeed.
Just when I was thinking of what to do, it shows up on my screen. It was fate. So it's a great program, and I decided to go for it, looking at the course structure and how it's organized and how it's structured. And so far, it has been great. The first semester was a blend of business courses, marketing, organizations, and leadership, and economics, and one finance course which was taught by Dr. Kumail. It was great. It was taught in a lot of detail. And now we've moved on to more focused and specialized courses, and so far it's good. A lot of work, a lot of readings, a lot of practical stuff to go through, lots of projects, assignments. So it's very rigorous, but it's very satisfying at the same time.
Thank you so much, Aimen. Dr. Kumail, I'm gonna come to you. Quickly, हम थोड़ा सा admission criteria explain कर सकें अपने potential applicants को, and then also if we could talk about what we really look for in a candidate who is applying to the MS program.
Okay, so Amar, since it's a MS degree, so according to the regulatory requirement of HEC, only students with 16 years of relevant business qualification, they can join this program. However, the important part is that if you have 16 years qualification, even in engineering or in some other degree which does not look like a business degree, you must realize that there are certain courses which are actually relevant courses. So for example, in engineering, students usually take this course of engineering economics, or management related course, or leadership related course. So what we have done is that we have devised a criteria which is in synchronized with all the HEC regulations, and we see that you have a 16 years qualification with some of the courses that can be helpful or supportive for you to join this program. And then we identify the major areas and the deficiency in those areas. So as it's kind of a business program. It is a business program with a very specialized focus on finance. So what we do is that we offer our students some deficiency courses, some foundation level courses, so that they would be at par with rest of the students who have probably more in-depth knowledge about the business. What we primarily look, if you ask me, we look for the passion. Okay, so to me and to my colleagues, finance is not really a subject which deals with number crunching. No, that is not the case. For us, finance is a way of life. Okay, so sometimes, as I've told my students, sometimes my spouse, she discusses with me that probably the decisions related to marriage and other issues, are they not based on NPV or IRR analysis? So and really I enjoy it. I enjoy it because I believe that if you do not apply those fundamental areas of learning in finance in your real life, then probably you don't understand what finance is. Okay.
Dr. Kumail,
It's
you've
kind
just given a new dimension to every decision that I've ever made, and the ones that I'm going to make now, even in my own personal life. Now that you have mentioned talking about NPV and IRR,
I mean, these are very basic fundamental concepts, and most of the time when I encounter with students having so-called expertise or courses in finance, they really don't know how to apply these concepts in your decision making. So our idea is not to reinforce the number crunching part here in this program. Our idea is to communicate the philosophy behind what the principles of finance are and how we can use those principles to make better decisions. I mean, not to diminish the other areas, but the fact is that if you are in corporate sector and you want to make decision in any area, say marketing or branding or say supply chain, eventually what they say, the buck stops at the door of CFO. So unless and until the project is financially viable, it's very unlikely that it's going to be accepted. And therefore, we need to understand that finance is not only a subject, it is a way to ensure, first of all, sustainability at our personal level as well as a corporate level. And also it is a way for us to become better and better, whether we are individuals or whether we are organizations, whether we are public sector organizations or we are private sector organizations. And for that purpose, and for that, we need people with passion towards finance. So I remember that many of the students with number of courses taken in finance, our admission committee rejected those candidates because we didn't see that kind of passion in them, which we believe is required at least for the first 5 or 6 batches. Maybe once this program will evolve, we may be able to tweak a little bit the admission psychology or the criteria later on. But at the moment, I believe interview is a very critical part. It's a very critical part, and exactly. I think you raised the right question. People need to understand that we would not be impressed only by the number of courses they have taken in finance. Just to quote one last example in this regard, that we have inducted one candidate from engineering background here. And the reason to induct that candidate was definitely not that he has taken many courses in finance. The reason was that he was really, really passionate about finance. So if you understand the importance of finance, if you know that how important or crucial financial decisions could be, I think this program welcomes you.
I think you're absolutely right, Dr. Kumail. And now that you've mentioned that the main thing to look for in a candidate is, of course, once they have fulfilled all the other requirements, then it is also about, or probably primarily about, the passion about studying and working with finance. I also remember when I was doing my own MBA, students who were executives who were engineers, they somehow performed really, really well, remarkably well when it came to finance. Maybe not as much as when it came to marketing, but still, as far as finance is related, I do distinctly remember that they were very good at it. At the same time, I would also like to let our applicants know that if you are planning on applying to the MS Financial Management Program at LUMS or to any other MS program at LUMS and specifically SDSB, you need to have 16 years of education. you'll have to sit at least one, exam, which could be GMAT, or you could go for GRE. And if you don't want to go for GMAT or GRE, you could take the option of NTS GAT. And then you will also have to make sure that you are providing us with a complete application, which is definitely available online. All you have to go is access the application through the application portal and just complete it and send us your supporting documents within the stipulated deadline. And inshallah, we'll be evaluating your application soon as you have submitted it to us. There are also multiple ways to finance the program. And again, we'll go to Dr. Kumail in a while to talk about what are some of those ways which actually, makes it easier for you to pursue the MS Financial Management program at LUMS. But right now I have a question that has come from Kudrat, and she's asking, how is the program beneficial for professionals to the banking sector and CFA aspirants? So Samir sir, you have a very vast experience of the industry. I'm routing this question to you. Again, how would this program be beneficial for professionals to the working in the banking sector and those who would want to go for CFA after this program?
So the CFA qualification is something that we had explicitly in mind when we designed this program. So somebody having gone through this program will be a long way ahead in terms of sitting for the CFA exam. A lot of the foundational work, a lot of the preliminary work will already have been covered in this program. So the 1.5 years that you spend here, as I said, explicit consideration to the CFA program, because CFA increasingly in certain areas of finance, it's becoming almost like a prerequisite. Or if not a prerequisite, at least it's a huge advantage to have that. For somebody who's currently in the banking sector, I would say two aspects. Number one, obviously, as things are moving, it's just general conventional wisdom that the rate of growth of knowledge in all areas is just increasing exponentially. So the old paradigm, which was कि आपने degree ले ली and you work for the rest of your life, now people are constantly having to retrain themselves and update themselves. So I think for somebody who's already in the banking sector, coming for a program like this would increase their knowledge in various areas. Secondly, as I mentioned, because this sector, apart from the conventional rate of change, there is a lot happening within the sector. And fintech is one example I'll give again. Kuch to khair, obviously the younger people are more in tune with technology and they know a lot of stuff that is happening. But there is so much change that unless you have that rigorous quality education, the likelihood is that you might be left behind in terms of your knowledge and also in terms of your analytical skills and your training and so forth, your communication skills, because there's a lot of general stuff which you pick up when you go through a program. I mean, quite apart from NPVs and IRRs and so forth. The fact that you have 1.5 year of training, जिसमें classroom भी शामिल है, जिसमें experiential learning भी शामिल है. By the way, जो हमारा project भी है, it's not so much a research project. This will be people who will be based at companies, and we will test and we will require that thesis to be based on practicalities on what's actually happening in the industry. So I would say in general, anybody in any field needs to constantly update their knowledge. This is a good program because unlike the MBA, for example, which is a 2-year program, this is a 1.5 years. It's a shorter time that you need to take out of work. And this may be the last bit here, which is at the industry. I think there is some scope for doing that as well as carrying on with your job. So I think it would be a huge qualification.
Of course it will be. And also as we talk about all these MS programs, that they are kind of at the intersection of that specific domain that you're going to be specializing in, but at the same time about the management skills, because generally what we have seen happening in Pakistan and even outside as well is that that students and executives do get to have lots of expertise developed in their particular domains, but not with regards to managing the overall organization or the multiple aspects the overall management of organization and the industry. So very rightly pointed out, Samir Saab. Aimen, again, I'm going to come to you. We've talked about university. We've talked about the whole experience. How is, I mean, how does is a normal day of a LUMS student, of an MS student, look like? आपके साथ कैसा होता है? कितना manageable होता है? कितना difficult होता है? And also, we were discussing about your own background before the start of the meeting, and you mentioned to us that you took a gap year, or rather gap years, before joining the program. So did it put you at a disadvantage or some sort of an advantage when you decided and when you're pursuing your program at LUMS?
So a typical day at LUMS is very exciting. You have classes, you have assignments, you have group projects. They're very, like I mentioned, it's rigorous, but it's very exciting. You get to learn a lot. You get to meet people from all over Pakistan. You get to meet people from different backgrounds. Some have worked, some have just graduated. So it's a very diverse group of people you're meeting, and you're learning from different aged people. For instance, we have students of all ages in our class. Some are fresh graduates, some have at least 4 or 5 years of experience as well, like me and some other students. So it's a pretty varied sort of group of people. So it's very exciting. You get to learn a lot, especially somebody who was working in the industry for 4 years and then decided to join back and come back to pursue masters. It was a bit daunting at first. I thought I would have, I would face a lot of issues, because obviously coming back to studies is a tough decision, but it was very smooth for me. And the transition was very smooth, alhamdulillah. The professors, the teachers, the environment overall is very helpful, and that's something I keep telling people, that the overall environment is kind of very different from what I've experienced in my life in Pakistan before. It's very helpful. People are ready to help you, and it was very it was a very good surprise for me to find people who are very helpful. They're ready to help you out if you're in a problem, even academically, or in I live in a hostel, so you face issues every day in life. So it's generally, it's a very, very pleasant experience, and I had never lived away from home, so learning a lot, thanks to LUMS.
I, generally ask this question to all of the different students, but even if I'm not doing a webcast, I'm the kind of person who would ask this question to every student of ours at LUMS, that how is the LUMS life like, or मतलब कितना मुश्किल है, नहीं है, आसान है, difficult है, and they keep telling me the same thing over and over again, that the experience they've had at LUMS is entirely different to what they had been experiencing before joining LUMS at other universities, while they were enrolled in different universities in Pakistan. And that kind of encourages me to pursue an MS program at LUMS as well. But at the same time, I'm scared of the whole interview situation. So कि वहाँ पे कितनी जो है वो grilling होगी और वो सब कुछ. So how was your experience when we talk about interview process? तो कितना difficult था? मतलब क्या फंसाने की कोशिश हो रही थी panelists की तरफ से, या it was just a discussion and you wasted? Obviously you did.
It was a very interesting interaction, because it was a very it was a panel, and of course everybody's like very scared in interviews, but I thought my interview went really bad, because I was really intimidated by the whole panel, because a lot of qualified people were sitting right in front of me and asking me questions about finance. I was like, I can't do this. I think I was just like messed it up, but alhamdulillah, I think it was fine. It went okay. That's why I'm sitting here.
Yeah, of course. Inshallah, in a couple of more months, you'll also graduate, and then we'll see you making a wonderful name for yourself.
But it is very daunting, obviously, because you have such senior people, qualified people sitting and asking you questions. So it is a very nerve-wracking situation.
and Dr. Kumail seems happy about it. Dr. Kumail, I'm gonna come to you. I believe there are various ways to help our students finance their academic journey at LUMS. And we always say that, if you are serious with what you want to do in life, and if you have a very clear idea of where you want to be, and if you're also certain as to how LUMS is going to help you, then we are going to make sure that financial limitations are no limitations. At the same time, we've also, for the benefit of the people who are listening to us, I'd like to inform that since inception, LUMS has dispersed 7.8 billion rupees as financial assistance, whether it is through the undergraduate program or programs, or the graduate programs, or the doctoral programs. Dr. Kumail, what are some of the ways with which a student can, finance this program at LUMS?
I think we need to focus on the philosophy of LUMS, which is very clear. We induct our students solely on the basis of merit. So if committee found that this person is, meets all the criteria laid down, and this is the kind of person probably we would want to have in our program, I don't see any restriction or reason because of which the person would not be able to join the program. So we have lots of scholarship, we have loan facilities, we have Karze Hasna kind of scheme. Also at undergrad level, we have this very rich program, a national outreach program, NOP. So there are lots of avenues जिनको इस्तेमाल करते हुए एक student जो है वो join कर सकता है LUMS को. Even if if you feel, or any of the student feel that he or she would not be able to get the right direction, there is a team of people available in admission office, in corporate relations office, in my office. My team is available to guide them where to look at. Okay. यहाँ पे एक बात मैं जरूर mention करना चाहूँगा कि one of the striking feature at SDSB is the 50% scholarship to women students. And this is particularly important for this program, I believe, because there has been a lot of debate going on and research going on around the idea whether females make better financial decisions compared to males or not. And what I believe is that females are more composed. They probably have an ability of multitasking, which is kind of an edge if you are studying in the area of finance. So we definitely would want कि अच्छी female students जो हैं वो आएं और society में जो है ना वो एक अपना जो due role है वो play कर सकें. Generally ये देखा गया है कि there are some kind of barriers which restrict most of the females to pursue their higher studies. यहाँ पे I think this is the kind of motivational factor which SDSB is providing, and this is not specifically related to financial management program. This is related to, I guess, all programs of SDSB. So I think ये कुछ avenues थे कि जिनको इस्तेमाल करते हुए आप इस प्रोग्राम को ज्वाइन कर सकते हैं. Before that you move on to the on some other question, I would like to add few things related to your previous questions to Samir Saab. So somebody asked about CFA, and he is absolutely right that whoever would get admitted in this program and plans to pursue CFA qualification would be way ahead of those who are just attempting or joining this program without any kind of preparation. But the point that we need to remember is that CFA requires you to invest a huge time period of your life. So CFA charter requires that you first complete your 16 years of qualification, then the degree program is around 3 years, and then you have to work in the corporate sector, particularly in the investment sector, for 4 years to get your charter. And I see that many working professionals probably realize that they should not join CFA program because of several reasons, but primarily because of the opportunity cost involved. Still they want some kind of upscaling in their requirement, as Aimen has mentioned. So for those people, I believe this is a wonderful program. So our focus, of course, is not purely on investment finance, which is the center point of the CFA qualification. So our focus is multidimensional, but we are trying our best to give students as much as possible exposure towards corporate finance, towards investment finance, towards even public finance, and more importantly, towards other auxiliary areas like economics, like leadership, like marketing. तो एक और क्वेश्चन आपसे किसी ने पूछा था कि बैंक के लोगों के लिए ये कैसे relevant है. It's a tricky question actually. It's a tricky question because banks are also complex in organizations. So not everybody in the bank has to be an expert in finance. So if you are working in the area of, for example, sales or marketing, probably you don't have to do anything with the finance. So it depends upon what kind of area you have been working in the bank, आपका रोल क्या है, और जो सबसे पहले मैंने बात की थी कि आपका पैशन है या नहीं है. फाइनेंस ऐसा एरिया नहीं है कि जहां पे if you are not passionate about it, you could do wonders. I mean, you may be able to learn few things, you may be able to deploy those things, but आप शायद उसको अपनी जिंदगी का हिस्सा नहीं बना सकते, और वो सिर्फ पैशन से ही आएगा. तो that's what probably some of the answers I would like to give.
बिल्कुल सही. थैंक यू सो मच डॉक्टर कुमैल. और जैसे आपने इससे पहले भी बताया कि देयर आर डिफरेंट वेज टू फाइनेंस द एमएस फाइनेंशियल मैनेजमेंट प्रोग्राम. एक तो बिल्कुल ये सही बात है कि जो 50% scholarship for women candidates is true for all the graduate programs at Salamanda School of Business, and I like to point it out every time that LUMS is probably the only university, or amongst the only few universities in the very few universities in the world with this sort of an arrangement, where we're trying to encourage participation from women to adjust this ratio, or at least to play our role to improve the ratio, where females are also holding high level positions in wherever they're working, not just one particular sector. And at the same time, there are merit scholarships available as well. There are student personal loans available as well. Again, please do fill in your application, and you'll be amazed to know what we can do to help you get there where you want to be. Last question is to Samir Saab. Samir Saab, do we again follow the same case study methodology to teach our classes for the MSFM program, and if so, how does it put us in a unique situation in Pakistan?
We do cases, but unlike the MBA, which is almost entirely cases, this is a combination of cases and lectures. दोनों का अपना एक रोल होता है, दोनों की अपनी एक contribution होती है towards students' education. The cases that we use are mostly foreign cases, which are used globally. For example, Harvard Business School के this we then try and link with the local environment. How does it apply here? What are the peculiar circumstances here, and so forth. What a case does, and I think largely unique to LUMS in Pakistan. I mean, there would be other institutions, but the focus here in cases. What a case does is it doesn't give you a right answer. It forces you to think and analyze that here's a business situation. This is what happens, and the case is also non-judgment. सही किया या गलत किया, but it puts forward a few situations. How should a manager or how should a decide? So I think cases add a lot of richness, and especially when you get to the electives, I think the percentage of cases, I mean, it varies from course to course, but I think, and by then the students are also mature enough. Generally the intake is that people who've worked for a few years, and when you have that first-hand working experience, that's when you could really learn from those cases. So I think it's a good blend. And as I mentioned a couple of times, उसमें फिर जब वो तीसरा element आ जाता है, which is that experiential learning where you spend time at various organizations, I think this is going to be a very, very awesome combination. एक चीज में और जिक्र कर दूं, कुमैल ने कहा कि females are better than finance. I think females are better across the board, everything under the sun. And one of the things I've been teaching here for 8 years now. One of the things I've really enjoyed, and I say this in all sincerity, last couple of years, our intake of female students has gone up very, very significantly. And I think that our environment and our classes are much richer for that. So I would really, really welcome and encourage female applicants to apply for this program.
I completely agree with Samir Saab, and that is exactly the reason we call our spouses our better halves. And rightly so. Rightly so.
Oh, that's what it was. Now I get it. मुझे बल्कि मुझे लगता है कि मैं करूँ ना करूँ, my wife's definitely gonna apply. So thank you very much, Dr. Kumail. Thank you so much, Samir Saab and Aimen for taking time out, being with us for such a lovely discussion. Before we go, I'd like to remind our potential applicants that we've already activated the applications for the MS programs at LUMS. And please create your application as soon as you can, and then it's going to take you some time to submit it because it's a lengthy process. At the same time, the deadline to take GMAT, GRE, or NTS GAT general exam is 8th May. And please remember, you only have to go for one exam. You do not have to go for all three of these. Select the one that works best for you. Also, the deadline to submit your online application will be 17th May 2022. Please do it by 5 p.m. that day, latest by 5 p.m. on 17th May. And the deadline to submit your online supporting documents is May 20th, 2022. So again, remember, you do not have to submit or hand deliver anything to us. You do not have to, actually post anything to us in terms of your supporting documents. You just have to, upload everything to the application portal, and that you can do once you have filled in all the details and you've submitted your application. Then there you can put up the documents as well, and the classes are gonna start somewhere in either August or early September. And yes, that's pretty much it from today's webcast. Tomorrow, inshallah, we'll be meeting with you once again. We'll talk about the PhD management program, and the day after we'll be discussing the executive MBA program offered through Suleiman Dal School of. Thank you once again very much, and see you tomorrow. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.